We got Kimmy Cakes and Jimmy Jam. Roundtable gathering over. What do you think?
Good.
Very
That's
knowledgeable.
it. One word.
It was good. Very knowledgeable.
The people that were here, everyone had a different story, so that made it that much more interesting. You know, we had a situation, they had a situation, so getting all that in one day was a lot.
Yeah.
In my opinion, that was a lot, and I think it's going to pay off when we get back home.
Sissy Rock.
I don't think we needed you here. We did just fine when you were out in the hallway.
She's trying to ditch me.
It went well though. Everybody was
What do you
open
think?
about everything, numbers and everything. So it was great.
She won't shut up on the flight home, I guarantee.
Oh, you're gonna be. I got you in trouble.
That's all right. She needed to get excited.
Man.
He needed to be told a few things too.
So, were certain things that you learned me from everybody? I kind of got the impression that certain things you've been telling him have been validated, certain things you've been telling her have been validated. What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
I never even entered my mind about selling until you said that today.
But do you understand why?
It's starting to make more sense to me than it did this morning.
Really?
Yeah.
See?
So when I first said it, what did you think? Because I saw that pretty early.
Oh,
You were laughing me off.
I'm thinking I'm not going to give that up. But like I said, I've run other businesses and never had a business that generated what this one has.
I agree.
I mean, we put a lot of hard work into this, and to just say I'm going to let someone take it is tough for me, easy for her.
Well, as a business standpoint, you sell at the high. It's
There you
the
go.
biggest it's probably going to be.
And the numbers that you
So basically-
were throwing out at me just it caught my attention.
But you wanted to punch me in the face when I said that.
Yeah.
Why are you so violent?
I'm very protective of
I get
what's
it.
close to me.
I totally get it.
And my
What, you
family's
guys started the
from
business in 06.
06.
Been in the NEMT business since 06. So you're looking at 14 years.
Yep. And it just doesn't seem feasible to sell that. After
But you guys have
working
done
that hard.
exceptionally well.
We've been very fortunate.
You've made good money. You're in a great place. It's led to other things for you, great opportunities. But, just like she said, you sell when you're on top. Don't play the game from behind.
I agree. But like I said, it was a concept that I didn't come here to be talked into selling my business. That's not why I came.
So what do you think about that? Am I crazy for telling that?
Not after I've had it all day to sit on it and think about it and kind of,
I mean, honestly, I didn't even look at it like that, but I get that.
Right.
Let me ask you this. Let me step back. What made you guys, because you guys got started my stuff in 06. In 06, 14 years ago, started your NEMT, blowing up, doing all your thing.
I was a real estate broker
Mm-hmm.
for 12 years prior to that. And we all know what happened to the real estate
Yeah.
industry during that time.
Yeah.
So I looked at her because she worked in the hospital, and she said, because I was looking at pizza franchises,
Yeah.
restaurant franchises, looking at putting, God knows how many hours a week in at that kind of stuff. And she just pointed out to the fact that she has people in the hospital that are waiting 2 and 3 and 4 hours to get home. And it was all because there was only one provider in our area at that time. So, again, like you said, we started out in 07, 2 vans, me and 1 other employee. And today we are,
You're big.
we're
You're doing well.
We're doing
Right?
very well.
Pardon my ignorance, but you're full time in the business, though, right?
She is now.
And you're locked out.
He's
I've
a
had
silent
certain
partner.
responsibilities relieved from me. Let's put it that way.
For health reasons.
So, seriously, though, that's interesting perspective, though, because I didn't even think to consider that, though. What motivated you? Let me ask you this first. What motivated you guys? Because you guys came to seminar last year, and we traded phone messages for a while afterwards. What made you come back this year?
Needed a fire lit under us, and I wanted to see other people that were hopefully in the broker business and see where they were at, what challenges they were facing, and and hopefully learn off of that. A lot of these things we've already known. You provided us with that. This was kind of a refresher course, I guess. And like I said, I was glad to be around other people that were in my same situation. Whether it be not gotten started like they should or have gotten their feet wet a little bit. But I see a future in it. And
So when you come here, having expectations of whatever, I want to learn more about this, and you hear me early on telling you need to sell this business.
That's the biggest thing I'm taking home with me.
Do you wish me physical harm?
I wish my wife didn't hear you say that. And
'Cause
then I could
told
think
you
about
so.
it. And then I can
How
think
long
about
have you
it.
been telling me he needs to sell?
She's brought it
A
up
year.
since she got more involved.
Yeah.
Prior to that,
When was that?
about a year ago.
Year and a half ago, 18 months ago.
It was getting too big for me to take on myself. She had other responsibilities. Plus, like I said, I got into some other investments, some other avenues, just because I felt we needed another source of income, because you never know.
100%.
Relying on one thing, and we have had a scare in the last year about losing the majority of what we had coming in, so that's made us really think about getting into something else, and the broker business seems to fit what we hopefully end up as.
You can still have
In
a
a re-
family, you can still be home.
100%.
Have our retirement and still enjoy life. So, I mean, I know so many people that's worked in factories over my life, including family members that worked 40 years, busted their ass, retire, and then 2 years later they're dead.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that guy.
Amen.
I don't want to be that
Still
guy.
young, bro.
Plus, she looks too good. If I die too soon, someone's going to swoop in. So, all that money I made.
Stay away.
Yeah.
Stay away.
All that money I
Just
made,
take it.
someone else is going to enjoy. So
Amen.
that keeps my
Stay away.
that
Just
keeps
take
me
it.
that keeps me motivated.
What do you think about this event? What do you think about today?
I liked it. I just like talking to everybody else and seeing where they're at and how they got started and how we started. And some of them were still scared to start their NEMT business, which,
It blows my mind that people are looking up to us now,
yeah.
Why do you say that?
because we always looked up to other people what they were doing. Especially since we started in NEMT. I always looked at certain companies and how big they were and how they're doing it. I gotta do that. I gotta do that. And now
That's
that,
interesting.
and then when you get to that point and you see, hell, you made it. You kind of made all that work. Somehow it came together overnight, and you didn't know it came together because just yesterday you were beating your ass trying to make a living, and then when it finally did, like I said, the bank accounts go up, the bills are paid off. I mean, we have a company other than vehicles we owe nothing on.
That's awesome.
The bank is actually, they're catering to me.
Amen.
In 07, they wouldn't even talk to me.
Exactly.
Now they're like, Jim, what are you doing for lunch?
Exactly.
How's your wife? Do you
When
guys
I started
need
my
anything?
business and I asked for help,
Yeah.
nothing.
Nothing.
Within 2 years, they're falling over themselves
Yeah.
to give me money.
Yeah,
And I didn't need it then.
I didn't need it then, But now I'm in other things. I'm using their money.
Amen.
I'm going to go ahead and use their money because
Love
they're
it.
giving it to me for free. Dave.
Love it.
Because they look at us like evidently they know what they're doing because they've started here and now they're here. And
You got an excellent 14-year track record.
we've been like lucky.
Any regrets?
I wish I started the broker business last year when I was here.
Yeah, I know, right?
And I wish we would started an NEMT business quicker too.
Yes.
Because we kind of drug our feet on that a little bit. At least. a
Here's the
year.
good news. We're young. We got a long way to go. We're not even at halftime. We got a long way to play.
But I don't want to be that guy that has to work all his life.
Amen. No doubt. That's not a question.
I mean,
Not an
I'm
option.
not afraid to work,
I agree.
but I don't want to be that guy that does it 80, 90 hours a week and no one, his
not an
family
option.
doesn't see him. I mean, I spent that time, she spent that time. I mean, I used to do my 4 a.m. runs and wouldn't have another run till 7:38. I would literally sleep in a parking lot of the hospital in that vehicle waiting for that next run because it didn't make any sense to run back home, try to get some sleep. So I can ask her.
You did that right, man.
Many mornings sleeping in one of those vehicles just to wait for the next trip. So, and we do get some people that look at us now like, well, that was easy for you.
Yeah, they think it was
People not only did not have proper understanding of your context, the average person will not pay that price. When I tell people, like early in the morning, you gotta go that 3 o'clock run out of the ER, you go do it. I've done it, you've done it. The average person's not gonna do it. They're not willing to pay that price. And I tell them just do it in the short term because the long term gain is huge.
I would say 5 years into it, we were a couple $100,000 in debt, really worried about being able to cover that. And then she was able to do her little envelopes with, you pay this with this, and you pay that with that. And her famous saying was, when I said something about buying something, she said, you can't afford it.
That was what I always said.
That's
You always
awesome.
say, can I
So I
get
didn't,
this?
so I
said, "No,
didn't,
you
I
can't
didn't buy
afford it."
anything. So one day I literally said, boy, I'd like to have that. She goes, you can buy it. And
So
it was-
basically what you're
yeah.
saying is behind every good man there's a great woman.
I'm lucky,
That's awesome.
33 years.
33 years, 3 kitties?
Yeah.
3 kitties, how many
Three
grandbabies?
grandbabies. Yep. And,
That's awesome.
Like I said, she was in college and I was a bartender when we first met. So.
What college?
North Central, Ohio State.
Ooh, D.
I didn't go to
She
the.
went to the campus, we have a local
Campus.
campus. But, you know,
That's awesome.
no typical than anybody else that started out and they worked their asses off.
Amen.
And we're just fortunate it happened to us before we got too old to enjoy it.
Awesome.
I mean, so
Now
we're
it's time
hoping
to
to
sell
pass
it,
that on to
bank it out.
Yeah, I know.
Cash it in, let the money work for you.
You may see some emails from me coming in the future.
Which was going to be my next question. Are you going to go radio silent and go off the grid like last year? So I called you several times.
He's gonna.
You wouldn't even send smoke signals.
Yeah, I'm guilty of that with a lot of people because if it's something I'm not ready to take on. Now, if there's a problem, you know, even with the entity timid, you know, my son who runs that, I answer every call.
How old is your son? Like,
He's 34.
Good for him.
Started with me when he
Is
was
he married?
Yep, 3 babies. Started with us at that when he was 23, out
Awesome.
of college, and you know, he went from washing vans, driving vans. Finally started doing some scheduling, then started doing some phone work. Now he has his title is general manager.
And you got employees. You have some long-term employees.
Most of my employees have been with me multiple years.
The plus one when we first started, she's still there.
So she's also.
She's
by
got an
very
office
nature,
manager.
She's got to respect the growth of your son. How he came up through the ranks.
They get along.
That's
You
awesome.
know, she's my age, you know, and
Yeah.
she's been with us that long.
That's awesome.
And she has told us more than once, I have no plans to go anywhere.
I think whatever we do, we'll probably pull her along too.
We
Beautiful.
will, because she's been
Beautiful.
loyal. I mean, I can literally count on one hand in 14 years how many times she's called off.
That's awesome.
And it was always because her kid was sick.
That's awesome.
I mean, so those people are hard to find. She's not educated, but we literally taught her how to answer the phone. I wrote down script, you know, this is what you say when that phone rings. And she's grown. I mean, she never even was never on a
She
computer.
runs the office if we're all on vacation together.
Love it.
So
Where's
we're
the next
fortunate.
vacation?
Every day's a vacation to me.
Every day's
Yeah.
Friday, the Blevins hang fail.
Okay, he's going to get surgery. You don't see this, but he's in pain right now. And I'm making him get surgery.
I'm
Or I'm
gonna-
going to
I'm
do
gonna
it
get some
myself.
surgery. Yeah.
So
Why
that
not?
ain't going to be a vacation.
Yeah. So
So when I see you next year, whenever, because I'm coming to your house, I'm going to come to your house. I'm going to watch the neighbor's horses
yeah,
eating off your pasture.
that's right.
And when I do, you're
And
going
I'm
to
gonna
be
be
free.
mowing the grass.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Because you're going to be pain free.
Yeah, I hope so.
Brother, glad you came.
We appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
everything you've done for us.
Thank you. Sissy, is it fake? Is it real? Staged? What?
It's real.
Awesome.
It's the real thing.
Love it. Love you guys. Thanks for coming.
Thanks.